Thank you so much for tuning in to She's All Over the Place with Kyriaki. That's me. Welcome back to She's All Over the Place. Today I have Manoli Ioannidis. He's an award-winning Greek-American actor who has appeared in a variety of film, television, and theater productions. He is a graduate from the William Esper Studio in New York City and has an MBA from the University of New Orleans. Manoli has worked with Oscar Award winner Steven Soderbergh and has appeared on hit TV series like The Penguin, The Equalizer, Queen of the South, MacGyver, and National Treasure, The Edge of History, to name a few. He has performed alongside many talented actors, most notably Oscar winners Colin Farrell, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Manoli, thank you for joining me. How are you?
Oh my God, thank you. I'm fabulous. Thank you for having me.
Great. Super exciting. You are the very first Greek male actor I've had on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel very honored. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're about 150 shows in. So, I mean, that says a lot. I'm getting more and more connected to my roots here. Thank goodness.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I love that we're connecting. I know we've known each other through the digital world for a while, but this is actually the first time that we're meeting, and going to take care of that soon, hopefully, by seeing your friend's film. So,
yeah. Shout out to Dollyland. Shout out to Dollyland. I've been watching the progression on that. So I'm excited to see it in the theaters and support Sam Pressman here in New York City for sure. And I'm excited to send him a message afterwards after we see it. So we have so many things to do together.
Yes, absolutely. No, looking forward to it. So it's funny, like we were talking about this earlier. It's like one of the things I struggled with when I got into acting was like, what do I call myself, right? Do I go by my name? But I know my name is a challenging one because it's all Greek to me and everybody else, right? How you say it in Greek is Manoli Ioannidis. But okay, good luck saying that in English, right? I struggled with it for a long time. I was even considering going with like pseudonyms. Manny Landis was something that a friend of mine recommended to me, and I was like, it just doesn't. I can't identify with it. I get it, but ultimately, the consolation was Manoli Ioannidis. It rhymes with Leonidas. People kind of associate it with the movie 300, so it sticks a little better. I mean, nobody can ever spell it, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you have the same struggle. I'm preaching to the choir.
Yeah, like Manoli Cannoli. It's like Manoli Cannoli. Manoli's cute, but I get the last name and I get the hesitation of, chopping it, but it's like Woody Allen, Johnny Depp, Jennifer Aniston. So that's my team, in 2005, when they sat me down, they're like, Kyriaki Chinakis. They're like, and they try to chop it all up. So
yeah,
I'm just like, okay, we can go by Katie because, I was born with two first names. So Kyriaki and Katie. And then, so I'm like, we can do Katie, but I'm like, that's where it stops. We're not chopping off Chinakis. Like it's not happening.
Hey, look, if people like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Zach Galifianakis were able to make it, you know what? They can pronounce Manoli Ioannidis and Katie Chinakis. So
yeah,
there you go.
There you go. So going back to your roots, where are you from?
So I was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. So I'm like a Greek Southern boy, I guess. But depends on who you ask. The definition of South kind of changes. Of course, I'm not like Southern. Hey, how's it going, y'all? But that's the misconception of New Orleans, is that New Orleans has like a Brooklynese accent. I call it. Because of a lot of the migrants that came, the Italians and the Irish. So I've always grown up and people thought I was from New York, even New Orleanians, but it's like, I'm not, this is just that's how I understood the New Orleans accent. I loved movies about New York as a kid. So maybe, it was just me picking up stuff from film. And here we are, I live here now in New York City, in Astoria, New York, where, there's a high population of Greeks, so.
Yeah, I definitely hear, I just met a realtor recently and she was saying how it's a great opportunity actually to buy land in Astoria right now. So it's starting,
really?
Yeah, it's really starting to boom. But going going even more to your roots, your mom is from the same place where my yaya is from. So we're going
Yeah.
to put you in touch with my dad because we're probably related somehow. But
Imagine we're like, third cousins and we didn't even know it.
yeah, well,
That'd be crazy.
it's a large island. It's one of the largest islands. So where's your
Yeah.
mom? It's
It's
the
the
fifth
fifth largest.
largest.
Yeah, fifth largest in Greece.
So where's your mom from?
So we're from this. It's funny. We would be considered city folk there because we're outside of Hora is like the main port city of Chios Island. I mean, don't imagine anything crazy, but for an island, it's a pretty nice size. And so we're in this area called Agios Loukas or Saint Luke. Livadia. Livadia, I think, means like prairie land or the prairie. So little house on the prairie, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's going north towards Kardamila, but Kardamila is like a good hour and a half drive, not because of how far it is, but the twists and turns. I mean, and the roads are so narrow and there's like nothing to guard you from falling off the cliff. It's kind of a scary drive, but it's so beautiful, especially the northwest when the sun sets and just gorgeous beaches and the food's amazing.
Yeah, I've spent time there gratefully. One time we had this Greek reunion. I'm probably exaggerating because that's what we Greeks do, but it felt like 120 Greeks getting together. It was, I think, in 2006 was the last time that happened. And we all got to, it was probably like a one and done kind of thing, but my mom and dad were there last year as well. So,
and that was a small gathering, 120. That's like, it's just a weekend gathering.
Yeah. How often do you go to Greece?
I've been very fortunate and blessed in my life to go pretty frequently. I used to go a lot as a kid. I mean, almost every summer I was there for the entire summer. So much so that I actually had to, whenever I'd come back, I'd forget how to speak English. So growing up, I would be put in ESL or English as a second language classes. So I was with all the foreign kids that didn't speak a lick of English. I mean, I was always more advanced than them because I knew English. But as a kid, if you stay somewhere for that long, I mean, at least for me, I would always kind of forget how to speak English. And so I'd have to relearn English, relearn Greek every time, I'd go back and forth. So, but now I would say every other year, for the summer.
I remember from what you were saying, hearing stories. My dad, when they were kids, they would get sent home from school because they were speaking Greek. They got sent home because they had to speak English in school.
Yeah.
And my yaya, her mom would come and stay, with them in the house. And I remember hearing that story. Definitely brought up some laughs.
For sure.
Yeah, you speak multiple languages. So how many languages do you speak?
I would say fluently I speak 3. I speak English, I speak Greek, and I speak Spanish. And in that order, I speak, the most English, obviously being born here. Greek. I mean, I speak with a native accent. People usually think I'm Greek, except for if I mess up on an idiomatic phrase. I might say something backwards, or mess up on a verb or conjugation or something like that. And then Spanish, I just paid attention in school. And luckily at the time, growing up in New Orleans, my parents had a store downtown. We had a lot of Latino customers, so I would just put what I would learn in school to use. And I mean, I would just speak it. And then, I speak with a native accent. People tell me I speak like I'm from Venezuela or mainly South American. I think it has to do with the fact that places like Venezuela and Argentina is the other place I was thinking about. They have a lot of Italian influence. A lot of Italians migrated there. What I would imagine that they're hearing hearing me speak is the European influence in the way I speak my Spanish. And so I guess it has that same rhythm, which is probably what happens to Argentinians and Venezuelans, having that Italian influence.
What I'm really keenly attuned to right now, and what I want the listener to applaud and pick up as well, is through your circumstances and education and your everyday life, how you were able to take those art forms and apply them to your craft of acting. Because now you're very proficient with dialects, speaking different languages as an actor. On TV, they might want it heavy. A lot of times they want it slight accent, but authentic. And so you're able to do it. And not only are you able to do it, when you get hired for the job, a-okay, but normally they have a professional a dialect coach that will come to set to make sure it's on par before like going out to network TV or in a film. But I want you to talk about the benefits, the surprising benefits and gratitude you have for speaking different languages, from having a diverse background and then being able to apply it to your craft instead of just being so dimensional. It creates your characters.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, by the way. I guess I've always been grateful for it, but I always kind of felt like, I mean, I really am attuned to observing people, and especially the way that they speak and their accent and, you know, their mannerisms and things like that. And I think that's ultimately why I gravitated towards acting is, you know, for me, acting is all about observing human behavior, right? And so whether I knew it or not, I've always been that way, you know, as a kid. And so it definitely has helped with my acting. I mean, I grew up always hearing like, you know what, it's always going to pay off to know another language. It's always going to pay off. You're going to make, you know, big bucks and this and that. Anyway, I started off in banking. You know, I got a master's in business from the University of New Orleans, like you said. And I thought I was going to be a big businessman. I was going to take over the family business at some point. And that just wasn't ultimately in my cards. It's not what my heart desired. And I ultimately dropped banking. I was a branch manager for a couple of regional banks in New Orleans. But long story short, yes, although it helped me attain certain relationships and, you know, grow the banking business a little bit, I never felt any gratification from that other than my one-to-one personal interactions with these people, right? But with acting, yes, it has helped me book roles with dialects. And I mean, I've booked like 3 or 4 Latinx roles, even though I'm not, you know, Latino myself. I don't know. It's weird with, you know, with everything, how it, you know, it's, you know, how everything's become more inclusive and diverse, which is awesome. And I remember getting into this. They're like, oh, you're great because you're so ethnically ambiguous. You can play this, you can play that, the Russian, the Jewish person, the Spanish person. Well, all that kind of became not to be so much of a plus in a way. And then weirdly enough, I'm still getting hired. And then it's like, at some point, I feel like it's going to backfire on me because like, I don't want to get some backlash, like, you know, of people saying like, oh, you're taking the Latino roles and this and that. Well, I speak the language. I look the part. It's not like I'm not giving it an authentic thing. The only thing that's missing is that I guess, I mean, I haven't checked my DNA. I'm not, you know, ethnically.
That's your get out of free card. I didn't do 23andMe or my ancestry.com.
Yeah.
I am not an affiliate.
I believe though, if it ever becomes an issue, I was like, well, look, there's been like a handful of Greek roles out there that, you know, that have been taken by other ethnicities. The main one being Zorba the Greek, which was played by Anthony Quinn, who is a Mexican. So there you go. You know, that's one that was taken the opposite way. And I think ultimately, I hope we get kind of past this because, like, yes, I think we should open up the doors and have more opportunities for everybody, but we still got to be able to play as actors and, you know, within lines that we're still respecting and, you know, serving the community. But like, you know, if we're all just kind of playing ourselves, then at what point does the art not get lost? And that's kind of where, you know, I it's still kind of like a mind F, not to, you know, I use def not to curse here. But do you know what I'm getting at with that?
You can curse if you want to.
Cool. I didn't know. I didn't check in with you. So yeah, it's, you know, it's a mind fuck. And, you know, you don't want to be stepping on anybody's toes, but at the same time, I'm not the one that's personally going out after these roles. My agents are submitting me, casting likes it. And, you know, I get hired because I'm the best person for the role, you would imagine.
You have to, our job, they ask us, do you play tennis? Which sports do you play? At which level do you play these sports? Do you speak languages? Which accents can you do? Southern, what kind of Southern? Brooklyn, for Russian, at what level? So it's a part of the thing we fill out. We have like 400 boxes to check. You know, if do we have a driver's license? What kind of license do we have for a motorbike? I mean, it's all a part of being universal, versatile, and having more opportunities. So yeah, please share more on how you feel and what you were saying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, personally, again, I love it that we're able to, you know, to play as actors and, you know, again, provided that you can accurately portray, the character that you're playing. And, provided that we're still giving opportunities to people of that race, ethnicity, whatever it is, obviously all within reason, right? But yeah, I think it's, it shouldn't matter as much. Again, I think just more stories need to be told to include different races, different people, different people's backgrounds, ethnicity, gender, whatever the topic is. I think, let's include those stories. Let's tell good stories and have people play the parts because of their merit, and their talent as an actor. And yeah, and then, like, I know you and I have talked about this before, but maybe this is we could segue into it. It's like, that's the challenge that I find sometimes as a Greek American, in this world, in this industry, is that in my life I've always been too Greek to be American or too American to be Greek. And it's like, at the end, where the hell do I fit in? I've even written I remember in college, in my, it was English 1 or whatever it's called. We had to write essays all the time. And one of my essays is, for lack of a better term, I was like looking for Grammarica. I couldn't find a better name for this place. But it was literally an island that existed, kind of like Greenland. It was a place that existed in the Atlantic somewhere between the United States and Greece, where Greek Americans can feel like they belong, and that, they get along, they understand each other's humor, their personality, and there's no like, not animosity, because I can't say that I grew up. I mean, look, I've had some experience of animosity. I've been bullied just like any other person.
Tell me about it.
Oh man, trying to think. Some of the main memories that I have of that is, I remember I went to a new high school for freshman year, and I was always called Greasy Greek, lamb chops, any Greek god you can imagine, whether it's female, male, but usually like Poseidon, Zeus. Those are the main ones. Just like, goat, moussaka, any random Greek.
Any little education they had, they would just throw it out there. Like,
Yes, exactly. And it's like, do you believe in the Greek gods? It was like you understand that those, I mean, look, I'm sure there's still people that do believe in them, but that's not, Greeks are now, if you've done any research, Greeks are primarily Greek Orthodox Christians. So why would you ask me, do I believe in the Greek gods? So there's like different versions of, like, bullying that, myself and other Greeks have experienced, that, you think about, like the blanket term white is spread across anybody who appears white, right? Well, I always say, like, I didn't grow up like John Smith, I get it. Yes, there's certain privilege that you have as a white person in terms of, I would never claim that I have, experience what other ethnicities and races have experienced, other minorities, right? But at the same time, there's other challenges that we faced as well, or at least I did, that, that's something that I've always wanted to try to find a right way of writing, because it's such a little violin, and who's going to listen to our song, not to diminish it, but it's kind of like, it's like, I don't want to be like, hey, look at me, I'm a victim too. It's not that. I just want to shed. I remember, filling out college applications, and I'd always put other, and I'd fill in Greek, just kind of like out of spite, out of rebellion. So I'm like, I don't feel this thing white.
I feel you. I 1000% feel and understand what you're saying. And what I would like to share also is, it's not victim, it's relatable. I understand that you feel different. I feel different too. We, as humans, we all have emotions. We're all awkward. We all have our different things and circumstances, but you didn't feel, as you said, white. It was the other. I understand. I really do. Thank you for sharing. Yeah,
No,
it's
absolutely.
really.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. I mean, that's
Yeah.
and maybe that is something. I mean, I definitely plan on writing about this at some point. Hopefully sooner than later. Writing is not my forte, or at least so I think. I think it scares me more than anything. But
You have AI now for that.
Yeah, exactly.
That can help. That can do the bones, and then you put the bells and whistles on it, like situational improv or something.
Absolutely.
But it depends what kind of project one does, right? If there's some comedy involved, or, depending on if it's very serious word
Yeah.
by word script. It just depends. I understand. I like more situational improv comedy. Yeah. So
No,
I'm a talker. I'm a talker.
in our blood. Greeks, we like to talk. We're storytellers by nature. I mean, thousands of years of storytelling. How can we not talk?
Well, in starting from the beginning, the education was through storytelling. I mean, that's what they teach in the schools to the kids, storytellers who got around the campfire and they're telling the stories. But I would like to share with you, because I identify again with what you're saying. Like for me, it's like I'm loud. My mom was always telling me how loud I was, and I was like, "Mom, God gave me these lungs for a reason. You're gonna see one day, like like legendary, like proud lungs. I was the fastest runner in Michigan, sixth in the nation. So
Oh wow.
I had these powerful lungs, and I'm like, God did this for a reason. But I grew up outside of Detroit, and so I was around a lot of African Americans, and they like loved my sass, my personality, my boldness, like they loved all that. And when I'm around like white people, right, like
Mhm.
certain white people, I'm too loud, or that's kind of, they'll just like look at me like that's kind of embarrassing, or like, did this person just say that, outspoken? So I was always this kid going around, and out of spite, like you said, I would be loud on purpose. I would make myself the center of attention on purpose because I like to get that reaction from people, which is like a clown, which is goes into being the center of attention, entertaining people, which is us being artists, right? Knowing where to focus that energy and what kind of attention to get and how to get that attention in a way that's reciprocated, where people would appreciate it instead of making fun of it, right? Because it could be both ways when you're bullying, making fun of someone, and then also those things that make us unique, someone being entertained but befriending. So where's that balance, and when do we learn, right? And why wait till later on in life? How can we learn these things at a younger age, and what can we be sharing with our children, our nieces and our nephews, and exposing them to what kind of materials to, like you said a moment ago, I want to write something, or how do I explain that it's unique.
Yeah, for sure. So I remember in high school, it bothered me so much that I wasn't accepted because of like my difference. And I went to I was fortunate to go to a very, very good, one of the best private high schools in New Orleans. And I don't share that to brag about it. I felt very blessed that my parents were in the position and allowed me to go there because of how much it cost to go. And I'm very thankful for that, and always grateful. But in any case, I share that to say it was a class of 65 that I graduated with, predominantly rich white kids. And none of them really, look or sounded like me. And of course, the few that weren't, that's who became my friends. And I was so worried about like, fitting in and belonging. And at some point, I remember even like I asked one of the cool girls to like homecoming, and she said yes. And because I growing up in a Greek family where if I wasn't in school, I was working with my parents at their store. They used to have an electronics store in downtown New Orleans where we catered to the Greek merchant marines or seamen. And so in any case, my schedule was go to school at 8 a.m., finish school, go work with my parents, and then do my homework at around 10, go to sleep by midnight just to do it all over again and go to school. So I share all that to say, they're like, you're going to go to what? No, you're going to call that girl and you tell her you're not going. So they made me, what do you call it? Not ghost, but like I had to call, like I was so embarrassed to call this girl and be like, hey, I can't come to homecoming.
You had to
Canceled. And basically that girl stopped talking to me, and then the cool group stopped talking to me. And I share all this to say that I took it so personal that I was like, you know what? I'm going to become cool in my own accord. And I just leaned into the Greekness so hard to the point where we had to dress up for like, I don't know, Halloween or something like that. I came in as Greek man. I created this character. I wore a Greek fisherman's hat. I had goggles. The Greek flag was my cape, and I duct taped a G to my my chest. And like there was a lot of nice kids as well, and I got along with most, but there were just some kids who just hated my guts because I just didn't conform. And that just motivated me more to just like dig in and just kind of like, this is who I am, take it, shoving it in their face, and no apologies. It's like, you don't want to accept me, then you know what, I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna yell it from the top of my lungs. And I think I did become cool in my own fashion. Like everybody in school knew me. Now whether that was like a good thing or a bad thing, who knows? But I felt cool at the end of the day, and that's all that matters.
Where'd you go to school?
St. Martin's Episcopal in Metairie, Louisiana, which is a suburb of New Orleans.
Yeah, so those were in your teenage years. And do you still have those attributes to this day? Have they stayed with you along the way? Have they shaved off? Like, did you always stay connected to that core? Because some artists, they have something, they lose something, then they like grab their power back again, you know?
Yeah.
So how's that been for you on the journey of being consistent and having that ambition? You know, and having that anger and that rage and carving your own, creating a fork in the road and going forward. So you were a teenager then. So how has that been through your journey for consistency in your career?
Yeah, I mean, look, my Greek roots are a big part of who I am. I don't hide it from anybody. I definitely embrace it, and that's like my niche, I guess, in the acting world. But I don't think I'm as the flame is not as strong as it was. I think look, Greeks are interesting people. I love my people. At the same time, there's times where I hate them. And I think everybody can relate to that. It's not always, sunshine and roses, right? So I think, I've definitely evolved. I've become more of a hybrid. I am who I am as a Greek American, right? So I learned to take the best from both sides and, try to keep the bad elements, filter those out, right? Again, in talking about the niche and all that, I think, ultimately that is who I am. Is like, I'm first generation Greek, right? So it's basically, I am a Greek born in the United States. Technically, I'm 1.5 because my dad, he's Greek American, first generation from Long Island, from Hempstead, Long Island. And funny enough, my parents divorced. I'm giving you like too much information now, but they did divorce when I was a kid. I moved to Greece. And so in a way, I almost became first generation with that experience because not to compare me and my dad, but I speak better Greek or more fluent Greek than my dad because of my experience. Which is weird because, normally the progression is like, first generation speaks better, is more connected, then, second generation, a little more diluted, so on and so forth. But because of my experience, it's almost like it got renewed. And I had like the first generation experience of, my mom remarried to a Greek immigrant as well. And so we spoke Greek in the household and all that. So, but I say that to say that, yes, it's a big part of who I am. And ultimately, I think my success is going to come, from being able to tell those stories and, being seen as a Greek American actor versus just another white actor.
Yeah, I mean, do you get categorized that? They'll be like, "Oh, does your team say, oh, you're white?"
No, I don't think so.
Do you do commercials as well?
I don't. Honestly, I've booked very few commercials. It's weird. Me and commercials, I have a weird relationship. I've done quite a bit of commercial auditions, but not as many. And now being union, a lot of commercials are now union anyway, so it's hard to audition for them. But it's weird. I don't get. I feel like I'm not like your typical, commercial guy, and maybe that's just in my mind. I'd love to do commercials and especially, get some of that money. Like. Who wouldn't? But no. To answer your question though, yes, both like my manager and the few agents that I have, everybody's on board. They know that I'm Greek American, and they, God bless them, whenever there is a role, they definitely submit me for it, and they almost always do come through when they happen. And it's like I want to be that go-to Greek guy, especially if it's around the age range and the look of what they're looking for. Like I want to be that guy that it's like whenever there's a Greek role, damn, you see Manoli, and if that's ultimately what my career is, I'd be satisfied with that. But yeah, it's tough. It's like you see it, and then like non-Greeks book the role, and it's like, well, why though? Other than maybe how they looked, it's like what authenticity did they bring to it? And that's where it gets frustrating. I recently had an audition for a TV show filmed in New Mexico, not to name the show, but they were Greek characters, right? And I'm like, oh, how exciting. There's probably going to be some Greek that I have to talk, maybe even an accent. And if not, the storyline will be Greek. There was nothing. All they did is it reminded me of like video games where they have like a skin, and like let's say they have Mega Man is the character, and then you could just put the Greek skin on him, and he's like, now he's Greek Mega Man, but nothing is different. He still plays the same. He doesn't have like, he doesn't throw gyros out of his like shooter. You know, it's still the same regular fireball. And that's what it was. It was like not even the names of the characters were Greek. There was no reference to them being Greek other than someone in the writer's room said, okay, we're going to make these characters quote unquote Greek just so that, you know, we have a little bit of diversity in the thing. I was like, what value am I adding? It's just like, and then ultimately it's probably going to go to, you know, a non-Greek anyway. So it's like, why even bother putting the label Greek when it wasn't a Greek character?
But when you auditioned, did you bring something to the role to show them something that they could write in?
100%. Like I did one version the way that I would think they, you know, how they were asking for it. And then I did one where I threw in some Greek. They were like Greek mobsters, these guys, involved in the casino business. So I even like, you know what a koboloi is? The Greek worry beads?
Mm-hmm.
I brought that into the scene. And so, you know, because, you know, the Greek manga, the cool guy, you know, the one who can't be touched. He's always at the coffee shop counting the worry beads, and he's like got the button down shirt that's fully open with the chest hair. I mean, I don't have like a gorilla chest like those guys do, but you know, I did all that, and I was like, you know, hey Ella, you know, come here, telling the guy to, you know, come versus just saying come here, you know, adding that and even pronouncing the names. Like one of the guys' name was Leon. I'm like, okay, I guess it technically could be from Leonidas, but I said Leon, or I might have even called him Leonidas. I mean, these are the choices that I made that ultimately I had as I might have even put it as my take one, saying in the vein of that, you know, I'm Greek, here you are, I'm revolting, you know, this is what it should be. This is who we are, you know, not this watered down version that you gave me.
Yeah. Yeah, I love to hear these. Yeah, I remember they were making the Sisters of Traveling Pants #2 or something, and I went out for it, and it was
Really?
taking place in Greece, and I remember I went out for one of the roles, and something was pronounced incorrectly, and I'm like, actually it's this, and the casting director was like, oh, and like she took note, and she was really grateful. I didn't book the role, but yeah, I mean, I haven't really been out for too many Greek American roles, actually. I know it's really important to have more Greek American roles, and it's something you definitely wanted to chat about today. So happy to discuss this more, and how, you know, we even chatted to make that a possibility to do a short together. And I remember in 2012 when a lot of people were coming to the Union, and the half Greek actor from Blue is the Warmest Color, Milos Forman, directed it. You know, they were talking, and it was a great inspiration. And other actors were coming and talking about going out there and taking, you know, your cell phone or taking anything and creating the content. So we can't just sit around as actors and just say,
Sure.
oh, I wish for the role to happen. I wish for the role. So we can, you know, be the producers and make the roles, create the roles that we wish to see. So that's when I started, you know, my journey as a short film producer and director. I've always wanted to do something, and I haven't. So we should definitely do something, create a short.
Yeah, that would be lovely. Yeah.
I think it'd be really smart. And then also, you know, to show people how to create and pay it forward and pave the way, because we're in 2023 right now. And I remember a few months ago, I saw Ted Sarandos, you know, who's with Netflix.
Yeah.
They're all celebrating, and I started following all the actors from Monstros Blue.
Seen that, by the way?
Yeah, I watched it. It's the first, you know, Greek. It shot in Greece, you know, and it's on Netflix. And so, and then we're in 2023, so people are celebrating. So things are, the needles, the needles are moving. It would really be like the euros are moving in the good direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what are your thoughts about some of the stuff that I just shared? What do you think, and what do you want to share about it?
Well, I'm glad that you brought up that show. That show was so lovely. And I went to this, I wouldn't call it a premiere. They had like a kind of like a teaser trailer and introduced it to the Greek community here in New York. I don't know if you went to that event as well. It was sometime in March, and the main actor, director, producer of it, Chris Papakaliatis, Papakaliadis. I don't know how you say it in English. He was there, and I was like so excited about it being the first, Greek TV series, produced in Greece, that's going to be on a international, on the global platform on Netflix. And I just remember it's weird because I've grown up with some Greek TV and look, it's entertaining, but nothing's ever been like wow, And so I had low expectations going into it. And I remember watching the first episode. I'm like, damn, this is actually really good. The writing is good. It talks about so many interesting topics. And I'm like, it got me so excited. And honestly, there's this big movement that's happening. Greece is setting itself up to become like the Hollywood hub of Europe, similar to like how Romania and Czech Republic have become. There's a lot of like the FBI international stuff that's being filmed there. Well, Greece is looking to join that and actually like overshadow it. They want to become the it spot, right? They want to take advantage of the tourism. There's a lot of like positive things that are happening in Greece right now, and I think the key thing was that this prime minister got reelected because I know that's a controversial topic and. Not to talk about that in particular, but I think that was a big key from what I know from some Greek Americans that I know that have actually moved back and are living in Greece. And there, one of them happens to be an actor, and I was talking to him, and he was like, "Yeah, if this political party stays in power." And Greece has another 4 years of the stability, there's a bunch of studios that are getting greenlit that, he's part of. And I'm so excited about that, both for the Greeks there, but hopefully for Greek Americans to get hired. Look, to get hired as a Greek versus, a Greek American and be SAG is like two different worlds, right? And so I would love for that to open up opportunities for us as well and be able to play in these movies. And I was fortunate enough last year that I got to film. I got to work on a film that shot in Greece, an American film, and that was just such a wonderful experience. And to see the American crew collaborating with the Greek crew, and and just having that clash, but that. I don't know. It was just a beautiful thing to see them like work together, because you have the Greeks that are kind of like, it's like they need their smoke break, they need their coffee break. They don't take anything too serious, but at the same time they bust their asses to work. And I don't know. It was just like a beautiful symphony. And I got to play a Greek character, which was awesome, and authentic with an accent and all that. Spoke some Greek, and I had the same experience as you. Is that I actually had to correct I think I told the director about it. I was like, hey, you guys are mispronouncing the character that I'm speaking to, or no, my last name. When I'm introducing myself to the character that I'm speaking to on the phone, it wouldn't be, Papa Dimitris. You would say Papa Dimitriou. And I had a little different reaction. It was kind of taken as like, you're correcting me. And I'm like, well, the reason I'm correcting you is because one of the American actors has to reference me. And if you want to keep this authentic, well, let's make it authentic. It's not like, I'm not trying to like correct your writing, but I mean, it's not authentic if you just say it the way that you think it should be said versus how it should be said.
Yeah, like when you say Hio, you're not saying Hios, it's Hio.
Exactly. Like,
yeah, it's
instead of Manolis, that's how you write out my name, but you wouldn't ever you wouldn't address me as Manolis.
Yeah.
You would call me Manoli.
Yeah.
Same idea,
Yeah. I've been told the Greek language is, pretty difficult, and we have the 5 different E's. So there's the female, the male. So it can get very confusing. I love my name Kyriaki, and then the boy version. Thank you. And the boy version is Kyriakos. And I was like, oh, I love that name, Kyriakos. I'm like, oh, this is so amazing. I mean, imagine if I, find a partner and his name's Kyriakos.
You got to be instantly the power couple just because of the names.
Sunday. Yeah, exactly. Sunday.
Yeah. Well, look, from your lips to God's ear, it's gonna happen.
So we'll see about that. I loved everything you were sharing. My parents, have been wanting to, they were actually looking at property, to be living there, for, half the year. So A lot of people are doing that where, they live other parts of the country, they live here. And how wonderful would it be to be able to be an actor, producer, director, creating on our own land? I love personally the island of Naxos. Naxos is amazing. I don't know if you've been there or not.
I've not.
Uh,
I've heard it's gorgeous.
you have to go. It's like a 30-45 minute boat ride from Mykonos, like really quick. It's like traditional. It's not all blue and white, but it's sustainable all year round. There's 40 villages and it's sustainable all year round. And I shot a music video there. I've shot some things there,
Oh,
but
really? That's awesome.
yeah, but I had a whole story in my mind of like to do like a whole like short film there. So we need to make it happen. What are some of your favorite Greek islands?
So I've been to quite a few. So it all depends on what it is that you're looking for, right? So I've been to Santorini, probably the most gorgeous place I've been to in my life. But if you were to ask me, does it feel like Greece? Again, it depends on who you're asking. If you're asking a Greek from Greece, most would tell you no. I feel like it's lost its Greek spirit because it caters to the tourist, to the point where like you're looking at the, first of all, it's hard to find authentic Greek food. It's all fusion and gourmet, and it's all catering to, a more expensive wallet that is going to pay for something. And it's weird because it's like, I would imagine non-Greeks are coming to Greece to taste Greece. So why wouldn't you give them that? Like, give them that and charge them more for it. We have a lot of great food that you can make even better, put your own spin on it that, you can charge more for. But the only place I've ever been to where the menus weren't even in Greek, they had Mandarin Chinese, they had Japanese, they had Korean, they had English, and I think they had Arabic. Very few of them even had Greek because they know that's not their audience. So at some point, I feel like it lost its Greek soul or spirit, and I didn't feel like I was in Greece. So for me, yes, gorgeous. It's what you see in the pictures. Even wild, they're more beautiful than that, but it's not Greece to me. I have an affinity and a bias for Chios because it's just such a natural island with such beautiful history. A lot of Turkish influence for better or worse. So for me, I could talk on and on about Chios, but outside of that, when I shot in Kefalonia at for this film last year, some of the most gorgeous beaches. There's one in particular. And I always forget it if it's called Myrtos or Myrtos. I forget where the tone is, but that beach, it was in Captain Corelli's Mandolin with Nicolas Cage and Penelope Cruz. Movie that came out, I think, in the early 2000s. I mean, they shot on the whole island. They're known for that. But that beach in particular, my God, it's still like the image of it is burned in my head. I've never seen, it's almost as if God took a paintbrush and just decided to scrape it over the land and into the ocean. The water, for as blue and turquoise as it was, it had this creaminess from the white rocks that was like kind of seeping into it, and it was just surreal. But again, like other parts of it are very touristy, and it's like I didn't like that, but I love that beach. Hydra is probably one of the other places that sticks out for me because there's no cars, it's just donkeys. It's this quaint little beautiful island that I got to explore whenever I went to Ionian Village, which is like a Greek camp for kids that it's like parents can send you away for two weeks, and we got to explore Greece, and that was a beautiful. It's on the Ionian side, I think. No, I'm wrong. I think it's on the Aegean, but close to Athens. It's very accessible to Athens and Piraeus and stuff like that. Those are the few islands that I've been to that really stuck out. And I mean, I love Evia. My other side of the family is from Evia, which is it is an island. It's connected by bridge. So because it's connected by bridge to the mainland, it doesn't feel like it's an island. But I think that's the second largest or third largest island in Greece, and it's got so many beautiful parts to it. And again, a rich history and partial to it because of my family connection to it, so
a couple other questions. Who are some of your favorite Greek actors?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't think I've ever been asked that. Look, it's weird because I mean, look, I have some favorite Greek comedic actors. I don't think I know
who.
Like Mustakas is a really, really funny guy, and I forget the other guy's name that played in a lot of his films. But he's this like really skinny guy that, I mean, he's just very slapsticky and just has very very funny reactions to things. So like that, he would probably be one of my favorite Greek actors that I like. You know, like in terms of like Greek American actors, I've met Zach Galifianakis in person, and again, he happens to be primarily comedic, but I thought he was genius. I loved meeting him. That was like a special bond, like not bond, but like a special connection for me, because obviously I loved the Hangover movies when they came out, and that was like the big thing that he was known for. And just meeting him in person, it was like, man, he didn't stray too much from his character. Like he's quirky like that, and his knowledge of Greek surprised me, because I felt like he was kind of disconnected from it. I didn't know what generation he was, but I remember I still remember our conversation till today. He's like, "What's your favorite Greek word?" He tells me. I'm like, I don't know. I think I told him hydraulika, which is like hydraulics. And he goes like, mine is ododoglyphida, and that means toothpick. And I was like, that's so random and funny, and it's like so in the vein of like him, right? So he,
because it's such a long name for something so simple.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he was a great guy. I mean, look, how can you not like John Stamos, right? And Jennifer Aniston, my God, like, I just wish that they were, and not a knock on them. I guess I just wish, like, from my perspective, that they were a little closer to their Greek roots, so that they might have, ventured down that road. I know. And it's not any fault to them. I'm not saying that. It's like, I wish they were, so that maybe that could have opened up more doors for those Greek American characters. Because I don't think they really played. I mean, I think.
Well, I feel that maybe they didn't have the support. I feel like I haven't had the support. I've directed, I've produced, I've acted, but when you're at the 1% of your game, unless it goes to an award or a film festival and it wins some kind of award, it's kind of a long shot. There's not a lot of people like you've been saying. You're sharing. There's some, but everyone's spread out. So I mean, us connecting and the power of connection and the person tuning in to see this, maybe we should have. There's so many Greek communities. Maybe here in New York, we should have a monthly meetup of Greeks, like Olympia Dukakis when she came in her documentary. Olympia Dukakis, she started her own theater company. So she was too Greek, like you say. She was too Greek or not Greek enough or this or that. She was something. So I mean, what am I going to do? Just start it on my own? Yeah, I could. But, we could just do it together? Yeah, we could. And it brings in people and, create something, right? And create something and make the opportunities happen more than just what we know about, because you're seeking more. I've sought more as well. Yeah. I mean, one time when he was like just divorced, he got a beach house in Malibu for the summer, and he was having people over there. So one of his really good friends, his name's Kent, that's how I was like meeting and hanging out with them. But he was so sweet. It was great. And I wanted to be connected more in such a way. Yeah. And I circled back around with him recently, indirectly, because he got involved in blockchain technology and NFTs. And he aped into a project and he was really bullish on it. It was sometime last year. And I remember it was like when I was doing journalistic report of like blockchain news that didn't last long because whatever. But I'm like, yeah, like John Stamos, Greek American, just aped into the community. And it was like, so the date is on my TikTok of like when that happened. He was on a Twitter Spaces. He was shooting a TV show, whichever TV show he's on at the time. But I'm like, this is so cool that, he's a Greek American. I've met him one time before and he's in blockchain and he's on set of a major brand. And in between set, he's, on a Twitter Spaces talking about like the future of art and technology, getting an NFT. I thought that was really neat.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You actually reminded me of something that I'd like to share with you whenever you're done with your thought. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, I was just concluding. And just one other time I worked with Jennifer Aniston because she did this Emirates commercial. Chris McMillan, her hairstylist from day one, did the Rachel the Bob. I remember not too long ago, they did the 20-year anniversary of like the Bob that he did famously for her for the show Friends.
Yeah.
When I was in LA, I was doing a lot of hands and feet and legs. So in the Emirates commercial, getting out of the shower, it's my hands in the commercial, and then my legs and feet for Jennifer Aniston in the Emirates commercial. So I worked with her on that commercial, and that's how I also met Chris McMillan, who has his hair salon in Beverly
What
Hills.
experience! Oh my god,
They were so cool. And I mean, they had me come in to the salon after, and they did my hair.
oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, but so I was just sharing some Greek moments since we got on a tangent.
No, I mean, look, it's you, and again, it all goes back to feeling like you belong and relate, right? So, and not to like, name call or like, hey, I work with this or that, but my first ever audition, and it's like really trippy how it happened. Like my first ever audition was for a Greek role. It was filming in New Orleans. It's this movie called Empire State, and I had been taking acting classes in New Orleans for about a year. And look, mind you, the acting classes in New Orleans are nothing near the quality of here in New York, right? So I was still very green, had just barely gotten headshots, didn't have any representation. They had an open casting call for Greeks or people who look like they were Greeks. And you'd meet up at a hotel, drop off your resume and headshot, and that's it. And I happened to get called in with one of the big local casting offices in New Orleans at the time. I get called in for a Greek diner owner. Actually, no, I'm lying to you. A Greek news reporter, because this was based on a true story. It's the Greek news reporter Ernie Anastas. I think he still did reporting until like the 90s, maybe early 2000s. But anyway, the story is based on a heist that happened in the 1980s. It was the biggest heist at the time, and Greeks were the masterminds behind it. They thought it was the Italian mob. The FBI was involved. And in the end, it was this Greek guy that worked they stole $16 million from an armored car company that they worked for. They would keep the money in the trunks of the cars, and the Greeks that were involved, they're like, why don't we just steal the money? And so they did, and they almost got away with it, but they got caught in the end. But long story short, I booked this thing. I got called in for Ernie Anastas. They're like, nah, you're not right for this role. Read for this one. It's for a Greek diner owner. And I'm like, oh great, all I have to do is act like my stepdad. No worries there. I did it, and I'm like, I felt really good about it. I knew nothing. This was my first audition, like we said. And then like this goes to show you how like bold I was and didn't care, and I was persistent. I remember emailing back to the casting directors like, hey, have I gotten the role? Like, what's going on? Like, you don't do that stuff. She's like, no, look, you're perfect for the role. You're just a little too young. Emma Roberts is your daughter. I was in my mid 20s. She's in her mid 20s. Like, you don't have, it's not realistic that you'd be, her father. I took pictures of I painted my hair silver. I was like, well, look, I can look old. And she's like, how do these think she responded to that? Long story short, she sends me an email like almost a month after. She's like, hey, do you speak Greek? And if so, how fluently? I was like, yeah, I speak fluent Greek. How can I help? It's like, we want to cast you as the role of Spiros. Do you accept? I'm like, okay, I don't know what this role is about. But yeah, of course. It wound up being much bigger. I was like a Greek mobster, the right-hand man to the main Greek mafia guy in the movie, who's played by this Greek-Canadian actor named Chris Diamantopoulos. He's been acting for a long time. He's like one of those guys, like if you see him, you recognize him. He was in Sopranos. He was in The Office. His list goes on and on. He had just gotten off of playing Moe in the new Three Stooges movie that came out at that time. The movie didn't do well, unfortunately, but I was so, I loved the Three Stooges as a kid. And when I found out that the guy who plays Moe is Greek, and I saw him do an interview in Greek as Moe, and it just blew my mind. I was like, this guy is so phenomenal. And he stayed in character speaking Greek, doing this commercial for a Greek Hollywood Reporter, I think it was. I was so excited, more excited to work with him than I was with Dwayne, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, Liam Hemsworth, Paul Ben Victor. There was like a star-studded cast. I wasn't excited. I mean, look, I was excited to work with them too, don't get me wrong, but I was more excited to work with this relatively unfamous Greek actor who I'm in all my scenes with. And I was like, this was it was heaven for me. So I share all that to say that's how important it is. It's it's because you have that connection, it's that's more powerful for you.
The meaning.
Yes.
The meaning. Yeah. So if there's a Greek ship tycoon listening to this, call us. We'll produce a lot of content here in America and internationally. Yes. Yeah, support is really important for us. It's really important, and so we can share more stories. There's so many stories to tell.
Amen.
Oh, And then speaking of my brother, Ephthemios, so you have to meet my brother Tim Chinakis. He's in LA. He has Gold Tree Studios, so you can look it up on Instagram.
Okay.
But they have a film fund. They produce independent films. He opened up his own studios on Sunset Boulevard in Sunset Plaza, like
No
in
way.
the most amazing place in LA, in West Hollywood, right in the center of everything, with 8 editing bays. They have a 1,000-foot
Oh, that's
sound
sweet.
stage. It's massive. There's a movie theater, a whole music production studio, voiceover, everything for ADR, for voiceovers, for post production, and they have all the best tech and equipment. So if there's reshoots, they can see it in real time and the director can say, okay, let's do this, instead of like calling people back, and like
Awesome.
having to see them. Yeah, they're definitely doing great things. And he's a fellow Greek. So
Yeah, yeah,
uh
yeah. I
he
love it how
de-
you guys as a family, film family. I love it.
oh yeah, he has some really big plans. So I would definitely love to introduce you to my brother Tim. I'll give
I
you
would love it too.
his Instagram, Gold Tree Studios, but I'll give you his personal Instagram too, so you can meet him because he may have some roles coming up.
Yeah, no,
I know
absolutely.
he just did a film recently, and so I mean he has a lot of stuff going on, which is great. I'm so excited. I think we should have a whole separate episode just about the island of Hio, and like have just talk more stories. I think
I would
that'd
love
be
that. Anytime, I would love that.
yeah, that'd be really great. So let's hone it in and share about you were just participating with 2 film festivals.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. So again, in the Greek vein, another character that I was like really proud and happy to portray, again based on a true story, is Uncle Tommy from My Dad's Diner. That a Greek Cypriot American actor, director, producer. This is his first directorial debut. He wrote it and produced it as well, and it's about his dad. And basically, it takes place. It was an awesome short film that we made. It's a period piece shot in the 60s, 1965, Astoria, New York, and it involves the diner scene. And actually, and finding out more about their family, his parents, so his grandparents, were kind of the first Greeks to open up diners, and a lot of people consider him the godfather of diners. And they at some point they had 3 or 4 diners. And so what's cool about this movie, it's it has some like mob ties that kind of flow through the diner, and just kind of showing these Greeks running the diner, and then the Italian mob is kind of has their hand in it somehow. I don't want to give away the story, but we've won some awards, which is awesome, at the Astoria Film Festival and Manhattan Film Festival. The director won an award. It won Best Short Drama. And then the main actor also won Best Dramatic Actor, which is great. But I love the fact that my character, along with another Greek actor that got the role of the Greek kid's dad, we both were Greek, and we were speaking on set in Greek, and we have some dialogue in Greek as well, which was awesome. But yeah, we also just got accepted to the Toronto Greek Film Festival. I think that comes up later this year, and we're hoping to get into the Athens Film Festival, and but I won't talk about the hopes. The next one that we know about for sure is the Toronto Greek Film Festival, and I think this is something that I really hope people see it, because, and especially people that could invest in it, because I think this story has a lot of potential, not because I'm in it. I mean, whether I'm in something that comes as a result of it or not. I mean, obviously I would hope that I could partake in that as well. But I think in terms of the setting, the period, and the subject matter, the lens of this kind of story being told from the Greek side and the Greek culture, which has influenced so many things in the United States. It's like the diner in New York. I mean, almost all diners are Greek owned, or have been have some kind of Greek influence. So it's like, how many people have eaten at diners, So it's like, why shouldn't there be, especially a Greek diner movie or TV series that comes out that hits the big screens or hits, people's TVs, and especially you add in this whole mob thing, makes it more dramatic and interesting. We got to Hollywood it up. But yeah,
Yeah, it's very specific. I remember growing up in Detroit. Every Coney Island was owned by a Greek. My family would joke about, like, oh, we should have gotten into
The diner.
the diner business, having a Coney Island or something. I'm just thinking like, oh, if it's with the mob, like, what if we do one, but it's more comedic, right?
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, because it seems like it definitely, it's very specific. I love the niche of it. Great. Well, congratulations. I really feel like you are really on top of your game in the Greek market.
Thank you.
And
Trying. And we gotta create some stuff together and, build it up, and create opportunities for us, for others, and share our story as well, that's what it's about, right? And yeah, if it's not being written by others, we got to take it into our own hands, and I mean that's the way to do it. The kind of shows that I get envious of are shows like Rami and Master of None, that that's what those people did, is they took their life story or versions of their life story, and they showed you for them it was like the Muslim, the Egyptian culture, and Rami is like Egyptian American. It's like the conservative Muslim side meets the liberal American side, and it's like, how do those two worlds like meet? And it's like so fascinating. And although I'm not Muslim, I get fascinated. I was like, man, I can relate to this, because it's like,
yeah.
I grew up in a similar fashion,
Yes. 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 I love all of it. And something I thought earlier and I didn't say it, but I'll say it now. I've been doing a lot of stand-up comedy here in New York City, and my new thing that I kind of stumbled upon on, because I love the drama. I'm like, I'm not really a comic. I'm more of a dramic. And then I go on to say, I'm Greek. We invented drama. We invented the theatrics. So it's like it's in our veins, it's in our bloods. And
so much.
and anyone who's tuning in that's Greek, like, step it up. And if you're not and have a Greek friend, everyone has a Greek friend.
Yeah.
Everyone loves their Greek friends. Send this to some Greeks and share it with them. And I know there are a lot of Greek people out there who we haven't mentioned, that are doing amazing things.
We gotta get John Stamos and Zach Galifianakis on your podcast. But
Oh.
I'm joining on that one. I don't care. Like, I'm gonna find a little corner. We're gonna do like a 3-4 way thing, and let's do it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And I just did, actually, Focus Features. I did something with them for a new project called Everybody. And while I was on their Instagram, I see they're the distribution company for My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 for.
No way.
So I thought, oh, let me do a good job really here, and then maybe I'll contact them to see if someone from the film wants to come on the podcast. So
That would be cool. That would be
right.
really awesome. You should totally do that.
Yeah, but really talking with you and connecting with you, it's been so wonderful and so nice.
Likewise.
And
Thank you.
just taking the pieces and just kind of all of them getting into a straight line, right?
Yeah.
I've had support from other people, with this and this. Yeah. Anyway, so it's really great. And I'm really inspired to definitely have more Greek people on the show sooner than later.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's
So,
part of who you are, it's and I remember, I think I one time I couldn't remember if Katie was Kyriaki or Katerini, and I remember I made the mistake of, like, it had been a while since you and I talked, and I mentioned, Katerina instead, and you were so quick to correct me, which I loved. I was like, yes, that's the Greek spirit, I mean, that's who you are, right? And we can't lose touch of that. It's like, yes, we live in this like beautiful and messed up country, but we can't forget our roots. It's like, that's what makes this place so unique, is because you're able to like interact with people from all over the place. It's like, that's what makes the United States beautiful, is that, we have our roots of where we came from, and then we all just join the same space. So yeah, I'll stop there. I could keep on talking forever.
yeah, I think we'll really stop it there. We'll just put a pin in it. I feel that. It feels really good. I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manoli, for being on the show. Congratulations on your life and success thus far. I look forward to having you on She's All Over the Place again in the near future.
Yes, I would love that. Thank you so much.
And thank you for the Greek recommendations. Those were some good ones.
Yes, absolutely. Anytime.
I think yes on those. And okay, great. Where can people find you?
Anything you need to know about me is my website, which is my full name. I'll spell it out: www.manoliionitis, MANOLIIONNIDIS.com. Imagine being a little kid and writing that out. My legal name is Emmanuel, so I would have to write out Emmanuel Ionitis. It would take me whenever you're doing SATs, like the teacher's like, "Are you ready to start your test now?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, I'm still getting to through my middle name. Like, relax."
Yeah.
10 minutes later, I'm ready.
Yeah. So that's your website and then your Instagram?
It's all Manoli Ionitis, Manoli_Ionitis. I'm Manoli Ionitis on Facebook and also on TikTok as well. So you'll see me with my long hair looking Game of Thrones-ish.
I'll have to follow you on TikTok. And when I make the promos for this, I've been utilizing TikTok and shorts too, YouTube shorts. But
oh, awesome. Yeah. I'm on there as well. I think I try to keep it all uniform. Manoli Ionitis.
Yeah. Shout out to Lily. We're both with the Bankston Talent Agency in New Mexico.
Yes.
Shout out to Bankston Talent.
Absolutely.
Woohoo.
Yes.
Cool.
I still want to get some New Mexico work. I want to be on a horse in the desert.
I know. I just want to go live there for 2 or 3 months and just vibe out in New Mexico and make art.
Absolutely. Well, just all you gotta do is book a roll, and then you'll even have your paid trip.
There you go.
That's what I want. But yes, I'm with you. My wife has been she wants to go to New Mexico. Every time we get an audition from there, she's like, "You gotta book this."
And congratulations, you just got married.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Que sta de casu, like we say in Greek. So, yes.
Ευχαριστώ. Ωραία. All right. So we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, giving me a 5-star. I'm an independent podcaster, top 2% out of almost 4 million podcasts. We're streaming in over 100 countries. I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Thanks. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Kyriaki, over and out.